Alright guys, thanks for tuning in. Today we are going to be installing some colored steel braided lines onto our 2010 ZX10. Did some research, decided to go with Core brake lines. They seem to have a really good package put together, really nice packaging. All of the nuts and bolts, bolts and crush washers that you're going to need for the job, which is really nice. Okay, so first thing we want to do with the line is make sure that it is stretched out. We want to take a pen on each side and pull. So I'm just pulling it taut, just making sure there's no bends, no creases, that when this thing goes in, it'll go in and line up the way we want it to. First thing we want to do is to get to the rear reservoir, brake reservoir, open up the cap. You have to remove a screw that has a retaining clip. Remove that retaining clip and then open up the cover. Hook up your vacuum bleeder to the nipple right up there. And then once you do that, you just need to open up the nipple. And what we are going to do is remove all of the brake fluid. Because of the setup that I have, it's really nice, really simple, really easy. All we do is get on the gun here, pull the trigger, and there you can see the reservoir fluid is being sucked right out, and it's all coming out through the brake line and down into the tank. All of the fluid is removed from the reservoir and the entire brake line, going all the way back. So we want to snug this back up, do the nipple. Do not over tighten it. It's very easy to do. It just needs to be snugged, and then put the rubber cap back on top. So from there, we'll remove this bolt, remove it from this retaining clip right here, and remove this bolt, and we are able to put our new brake line on. Our new brake line comes with new bolts and crush washers. These bolts can be reused, and I'm going to reuse these bolts because they are black and it does match the bike better than the raw aluminum bolts that the new kit comes with. But we are going to replace the crush washers with new crush washers. That way we ensure we have a good seal. Always, always, always replace your crush washers. I'm going to try to video this as best I can. For us here right now, that line is not matching up to the lines on the bike very well. This side will work and line up, but this side won't, and vice versa. So I'll show you guys how to fix that. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this line right here and we're gonna put a pen on one side, a plastic pen, and a plastic pen on the other side, like so. Sorry, I can't get this all on the screen, guys. So what we're gonna do then is twist this way with this one, and we're gonna twist this way with this one, and twist in opposite directions, and these will rotate. As you can see, they can rotate about 360 degrees. We just need 180, so that's 180 degree rotation right there. Let's go ahead and try it again. One thing you want to make note of as you're doing this job, this one long bolt is for the just below the triple tree on the front. It also has 3 crush washers on it. Make sure that you do use this one for the front, and that all of these are used for the lower front and then the rear. These are all the same size with the same amount of crush washers. I'm already really liking the way that these are coming out. So after we bent them, they're fitting nicely. We got the right bends in it, sitting in the right positions where we need it to. So now what we're going to do is just finger tighten these bolts. Don't crush the washers yet. Make sure your fitment is 100% correct. Put in the I don't know what you want to call them, the clamps, the things that clamp it to the swing arm here, and then to the rear set back here. That's what these are for. And you can reuse these with the original clamps that it came with. And then from there, once you got that, we'll go ahead and torque these down to 20 pounds. No more, no less. 20 pounds. 20 foot-pounds. All right. Okay, we've got that drained and filled twice. So now we have all the fluid in the lines that we need to have. Now we need to go ahead and bleed the line of air. The best way to do this on the rear is to pump the rear brake pedal. And you'll notice, it's hard to see on here, but as you do this, it will get firm and the level will actually go down just slightly. So what that's doing is it's pumping hydraulic fluid into the line and it's pushing the air to the top. So what we'll do is we'll crack the bleeder on this side and allow air to come up and out of the system. Okay, so I checked, there's actually not a bleeder on this side. So what we're gonna go ahead and do is crack this nut just enough to bleed the pressure off. And it is gonna bleed brake fluid. Make sure it does not get on anything else, especially any painted surfaces. The brake fluid will peel the paint right off over time. All right, the rear brake line is done. Firmly bled. We just pressed on the brake pedal, held it down, cracked that nut, allowed some fluid to come out onto the rag, kept the brake pedal depressed the entire time, then closed that nut as the brake pedal's depressed, torqued it back, and then repressurized the line. No air bubbles coming up through the reservoir. Fluid level is perfect. We are ready to put the cap on and call it good. All right, we bled both nipples, just like on the other side. The lines are now free of fluid. The reservoir is dry, minus a little bit that's in there because it's to the side, but it's minimal and negligible. So same on that side there. We are gonna pull these entire lines off. The new system, the way it's set up, will actually hook up to the master cylinder right there. So both lines are gonna run from that point versus the one line going to the split, if you can see that in there. So I was able to turn the bars and get a really good look at this. That is the unit that we are wanting to remove. And we're gonna pull that bolt out right on top, right where the flashlight's touching, to pull it off of that bracket. And we can even remove the bracket. The bracket's just there to hold on the brake, I don't know, the Y pipe, the splitter. And then we're gonna run the two lines, well, you're gonna drop these out first and then run the two lines up from the master cylinder. All right, the bracket is free. The lines are disconnected down low. We just need to remove this bolt right here, and then we'll drop the lines down and out at the bottom. All right, here's that Y bracket I was talking about. This is what we removed. And we are going to run both lines from the top down to the bottom. So once again, the first thing we want to do with these is put our pencils through each side and straighten them out. Okay, there's the big bolt that I was talking about. It's longer. It's going to go through the two of these. And we're going to put the right side to our left. That way when we install it, the right brake line is on the right side of the bike. So we're going to go ahead and run it like this. So ultimately these don't matter. They're going to get, let's see. Okay, so this one is all right. So we're going to run the bolt through with one cross washer on it, up and through the lines like this. And it should be the left-hand side. Forgive my camera skills. Yeah, this is the left-hand side. So we push that in. We'll put another crush washer on. In between the two lines. Slide that in. We'll put the other line on top now. Okay, so it's on there, and then finally the last crush washer. Just like that. So if you can see, we have the left brake line on our right side, and then the right brake line on our left side, so that way when it gets installed, it's reversed and we have the proper brake line on the right side. Alright, our lines are hooked up, looking fabulous. Both sides are ran and in and hand tightened for now. Nothing's tightened up to the point where it's torqued down properly, just to make sure we have proper fitting, which we do. Looks phenomenal. So let's go ahead and torque those down once again to 20 feet of torque. Sorry, 20 foot-pounds. One thing I failed to mention earlier, if you remove the bracket where the Y brace was, the Y pipe for the hydraulic line, you are going to need to run a bolt, one of those bolts through to hold the horn in onto the frame. Okay, we have all of our brake lines torqued down. Really looking good. Really setting off the bike. I wish the lighting gave it more justice. One thing that I didn't mention and I want to recommend is the brake fluid that you use. If you're a really aggressive rider, this Motul RBF 600 is just about the best you're going to be able to use, other than this Motul 660. They have the highest boiling points of any brake fluid on the market. So what that gives you is a lot of heat you can run without boiling your brake fluid. And the steel braided lines will make a dramatic increase in performance over the rubber lines that were on there before. So we have the reservoir filled. We're going to start with the furthest line from the reservoir, and that's how the way you should always do it. And that's the left side. So we're going to drain this twice using the vacuum bleeder. We're going to drain it, make sure no air gets back in the line, fill it, drain it again. Then the left side's done. Then we're going to do the same thing to the right side. And after that, we'll do the bleeding procedure. Okay, we prime the lines on both sides. They're full of fluid. We'll fill this up one last time. The bleed nipple on top is right here. Let me grab a flashlight, better light. There's the bleed nipple right there. We'll go ahead and crack that with the lever fully depressed, with pressure in the line, and bleed out some of the air after we fill that back up. Okay, I'll show you guys a bleed procedure. Just go ahead and pump up the brake till it gets stiff. Stiffer, or sometimes it won't get fully stiff because there will still be air in the line. And once you feel pressure built, you want to make sure you have a rag right under the bleeder. Let's see if I can do this with only a few hands. So we're going to hold the lever down. So I'm holding it down pretty tight. We're going to put our wrench right on the bleeder nipple, and we're going to pull, and we got a nice smooth squirt with no air bubbles. It means we're bled. It's back closed. I'll let go and I'll pump it up again. Feels nice and firm. So with that, it's really all done, set to go. Make sure all of your brake fluid is off of the vehicle. Use some spray polish on the surfaces. Make sure that you don't have anything dripping on any of the painted surfaces, or you will be sorely disappointed in time when the paint starts to come off of the vehicle. Make sure that also your brake fluid is nice and fresh. Brake fluid is hygroscopic. It means it absorbs moisture out of the air. Anything that's been opened and sitting around for more than a year as far as brake fluid goes, you really don't want to use it. And you do need to use .4. Alright, so now we got some better lighting. You can really see the difference that those brake lines make in the flow of the bike. They really stand out and do a really good job of making this bike look a little bit more unique, a little bit more custom for the owner.